Today I'm going to uninstall my generator and then I'm going to reinstall it to make an installation video. I'm also going to do some upgrades on the generator while I have it out. And so, thought I'd document the removal as well as the installation. So first thing I did was disconnect all the wires inside. So there's the 120 that goes through the wall back there, 120 volt, the 12 volt. I'm sorry, this here is the control panel wiring. I've disconnected it on the inside. Once I lower the generator, I will I'll pull it out, so because it stays attached to the generator. I'm getting ready to disconnect the fuel line on this side, and the 12 volt back there. I have to disconnect that too. I'll disconnect that once I lowered it. I've already disconnected the battery on the inside. Then what I did was I disconnect. Here's the muffler back here. It's behind the generator, as you can see. It's no longer under the generator where it originally was. I found it runs cooler if I set it back here. So it mounts to this rear cross member right here, and to the same cross member as the generator right here. You'll see more about that in the installation process. So I disconnected this. This connects from here, coming out of the engine exhaust, and it connects to this pipe. To this inlet on the muffler with this flex tubing right here. So that went there, and this end goes through here and connects there, and the clamp goes on, and you have to raise up the muffler a little bit to get it on there, but no big deal. So anyway, right now I'm going to put my jack under here. This is the jack I'm using. This is an ATV jack I got from Harbor Freight. It was 89 bucks. I think I got it on sale for 69 bucks with a coupon. And so that works perfectly for this generator. It'll fit perfectly under there. So I'm gonna lower the generator. I'm gonna support it with the jack. I'm gonna loosen up the bolts. Actually, I can remove the bolts once the jack is underneath. I'll remove all 4 bolts. There's 2 on this side, 1 there, 1 in the rear, and 2 on this side, 1 here, 1 in the rear. And I'm loosening these bolts, not these. These bolts can stay in for now. And then I'll drop the generator. Once I get the bolts out, once I get those 4 bolts out, I can take the muffler the rest of the way down. The muffler bracket is under here, and I can remove these 2 screws back here, bolts back here, and these 2 right here, not this one. This is where the muffler attaches to the muffler bracket, and we can remove the muffler. I'm removing the muffler because if I don't, the bracket, as the generator comes down, the bracket will hit the inlet pipe right there. Okay, I'm going to put the jack underneath. I'll line it up, pump it up, double check my alignment. There we go. I want it as centered as possible. I want to miss those bolts for the muffler. The brackets. There we go. Perfect. Now I can see that the jack is supporting the weight of the generator. I will now remove the 4 mounting bolts and lower the generator. And as I lower it, I'm gonna disconnect this. I'll get more clearance, and I can more easily disconnect the fuel line. And as I lower it more, I can reach back there and pull the 120 lines through, the 120 volt wires through, and I can reach back there and pull the control panel wires through, and I can unscrew the 12-volt cable from the connector on the side of the generator. But I'm going to do that after I lower the generator some. Also going to remove the muffler once I remove the bolts. Now, I may not catch everything on video, so that's why I'm telling you what I'm going to do. The 2 bolts on this side, have them here, and I dropped the muffler. Here's the other 2 bolts that went back here on these speed nuts that comes with your installation kit. You get 2 speed nuts that slide over 2 holes that are already here in this cross member, in this rear cross member at the back of the RV. Okay, it's right up under the sewage hose storage location, right there. And on this side is where you can mount the muffler strap. Tie down muffler. Well, anyway, that's a different story. And so now I'm going to remove the other 2 bolts on the other side and drop the generator. This is the ground wire that comes with your kit. It's needed because of the rubber insulators, vibration isolators that come with the kit. You'll need to ground it to the frame. We do that with that ground wire right there at the front of the generator. Okay, I got all 4 bolts out of the generator mount and the bolts out of the muffler mount, and now I'm going to lower the generator, and I'm only going to lower it a little bit at this point. There's the knob you lower it with, lever. I'm going to lower it a little bit so I can get to this this fuel line. That's enough. I'm going to remove this upper clamp because there's a lot of fuel in this hose, in this filter right here, and I don't want it to spill, so I'm going to remove the upper clamp and then remove the hose. That clamp right there. Fuel line loose, and now I'm going to lower the generator some more so I can get to the wiring on this side over here. Wiring back here. So I'm going to lower the generator some more. Keeping my eyes on everything to make sure nothing's catching. I can slide it out some now. And now the safety is caught on this jack, and I have to put the camera down in order to release it. And now I can lower it some more. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out. And as you can see, these wires in the back, they're not very long. You can just pull them out now. So here are the wires that connect to your 110 connection on the inside. And there's your 12 volt. I'm gonna get a 9/16 wrench and remove that 12 volt cable coming from your house batteries. And then I'll pull these through once I pull the generator out some more, but I'm gonna go get a wrench in order to remove that there. Okay, I got the nut off and the lock washer, but I add another washer, a flat washer, to prevent when you're tightening this nut, to prevent it from trying to twist the battery cable. Your generator, if I don't forget to put it on there, because this kit doesn't come with it, I'll add another washer, a flat washer, to prevent, so you can put that over your cable and prevent the cable from spinning when you're tightening the, you don't have to tighten it real tight, just, you know, snug so that it doesn't back off under vibration. Okay, now I'm gonna reach back here and start pulling these wires through. These wires are 2 or 3 feet long, so you'll have enough play to drag it out, to drag the generator out. So I've pulled out enough slack now that I can pull the generator all the way out. can pull it the rest of the way out. Now you have to be careful removing these because of the end connectors. So if you start with the, well, you just kind of have to, it might be best from the inside to push it through. Right now, mine appears to be hung, so that's why it's best to push it through from the inside. It's hung on something. So I'm gonna put the phone down and see if I can get these wires out of here. Okay, I was able to get the wires through by pushing them through the connectors. The connectors were actually hanging up on the hole, which the rubber grommet. But anyway, so what I did was I pushed the small ones through first, okay, the 2 wire connectors, and then I pushed the bigger ones through. When you're putting it back in, you would do the opposite. You put the big ones through first, and then the small ones as you feed them back through there. That'll be the easiest way to get them through. The biggest ones first, and then the smaller ones afterwards. So I now have the generator out. All I used was this this is actually a 1/2 inch. 13 millimeter will also work. And I had to use a 9/16 wrench to remove the nut from the battery connector here. And this was 8 millimeter. I do not know what it is in, I think it's 3/8 maybe in standard. And then I use these pliers to undo the clamp on the fuel filter, which is still full of gas. And of course the jack. I have not loosened the bolts on the brackets. I had no need to. I'm going to do some upgrades, like I said, and then I'll put it back in this evening. When you remove your old generator, you may find that you have some cables running out of this side port, cables running out of the this port up in the upper left-hand corner, which is for the 120 volt lines. This port here is for the control panel lines, and your 12 volt cable, this one here, may be running through this hole right here in the center. You'll need to push the cable back through that hole because you can't leave it there with the new generator. The generator pushes back to the back part of this cabinet. So you'll need to push it through, and then you're going to be running it underneath here and to the side over here, to the side of the generator over here. You can take some twist ties and tie it down. I actually haven't tied mine down yet. I just push it back up there on top of that heat shield and connect it here, and it stays there. Here's your gas line coming through here. I recommend that you replace this gas line because it's going to be old, and possibly even if it hasn't been replaced recently, it's going to be old, hard, dry rotted. It needs to run up like this to prevent fuel from just running out. So you make sure you have your clamp there that clamps it to the side of the generator cabinet, and then runs to the front here where you're going to be connecting it to the fuel filter on the generator. But again, you have to remove that cable. Just push it back through. You remove all of the cables. You don't need anything running through here because you're going to be pushing your 120 wires back through here. You can put a rubber grommet. I'll include a rubber grommet with your kit that'll fit this hole here, and you can run your wires through there and then have the grommet around it to protect the wires and also to reduce air from getting through. If your insulation in your cabinet is old and damaged, you'll need to remove it and replace it, or just remove it altogether, because if it comes off and it blocks the air intakes on the generator, it'll cause the generator to overheat and it will burn up that generator. First it'll burn up the electronics, and then it'll burn up the engine if it keeps running. So you can replace it. I have this, this is a heat reflecting material, sound dampening as well. But The last generator I installed, the guy actually didn't want to replace it. We just removed it, and the sound or heat wasn't that bad. The generator doesn't put off that much heat, so it wasn't that big of a deal. One last thing, this frame on mine and the other ones that I've installed, this frame has a little lip right here that sticks out a little further. I had to grind it down. You'll have to grind this down. This is the only modification that we had to make to the Rialta. But I had to grind it flat, level with the rest of this back beam here. But it's gonna stick out about 1/4 of an inch. It's gonna come out and then over, and we'll need to grind that down. I took a grinder, and as you can see, it's rusty, and because I didn't paint back over it, but I grinded it down so that it would be flat. Because when I didn't do that, the generator would hit up against it and it would cause a bumping sound and when it was running. I don't think I had that problem on this side. Maybe I did, I don't know. But if you don't grind that off, the generator may not push back far enough for you to get your cross member back on here. It'll reduce the amount of clearance to get the door off as well while when you're trying to open the door on the generator. The other thing is that these clips for the door, to close the door, to latch the door on when you close it, you'll have to modify this one, and I'm going to try to get some made and include them with the kit, but they'll have a little notch cut out of them so that you don't have to remove them to get the door off or the generator out and in. And you'll see more about that in the installation video. So I'll cover that in that video. And that's it. Just make sure, replace this fuel line and make sure the installation is in good shape or remove it altogether. That's it. When these brackets here, or when installing these brackets, there's a slot on the frame. You leave the bracket, one side has slots and one side has a round hole. The round hole goes to the frame of the generator because there's a slot already on the mount of the generator that'll give you flexibility backwards and forward. Okay, hand tighten these when you're installing the generator so that you can align the same with this, so you can align the generator properly. You want to make sure it's a 1/4 inch from that back flange on the back frame of the generator compartment, and you want it as far to the left as possible. So as far as you can move it to the left, because the fuel line comes through the back of the generator housing compartment, and it's very close to the side of the generator. So you want to move it over as far as possible. If it's touching, you may want to put something in between it, like a well, what I was going to do was use a larger rubber hose. So there's some rubber hose that comes, well, I don't have it right now, but I don't know. Just make sure the generator is far enough over so that it doesn't rub against that fuel line. But hand tighten these so that you can move it. This is the back of the control panel. This is the front. Off position, start position, center position is run, off, center position is run, holding that down is start. Okay? This here is supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be the line up to the off side and the circle to the on side. Alright, on the back of the starter switches on the bottom, right here, the two black wires can connect to the bottom for this side, left. Okay, two black wires, and each set of wires are zip tied together. Okay, so you got two blacks, a white and a black, and two whites. Okay, the two whites go to the top switch, the eco switch. Doesn't matter which one connects to which. On the start switch, which is the white and the black wire should connect to the middle terminal
and the white wire should connect to the far right terminal when you're looking at it from the back, as you can see right here. Okay, so again, the black wires are on the bottom. Now if you put these on the wrong terminal, they're very hard to get off. So if you put them on there, you could damage the switch trying to get them off. It's a very tight fit. Let me know if you have any questions.
It's a good idea to use the shell as a template to mark your holes. Drill one hole, put a screw in it, and let that hold it in place while you drill another hole catty corner. Put that screw in, drill the other two holes, and then use those holes. Make sure that you cut your hole here inside of the holes that you drilled. And you do need to cut your switches go in between these pins here, so you'll need to make sure the wires can run freely behind there as well. Okay, just want to do a quick video of the installation. I forgot I wanted to do a video, so I'm kind of ahead of the game right now, but I'm still nowhere near finished. So I've connected the fuel line after replacing the fuel hose there, which runs to the back of the generator back there, and then there's the 12 volt I've connected. I run the wires for the control panel through the side here, and I've fished the 120 wires up inside of there. If I can get it in there, and I put a rubber grommet around it. I'll post a picture of that in the video. And now I'm going to finish jacking it up. I'm going to put my rubber grommets and my bolts in, my washers, and connect my ground wire in the process. It connects up here. I did an uninstall video this morning. It was a lot clearer. So the uninstall, I explained the process of reinstalling it, so maybe that'll do. Okay, I got all 4 bolts in. They're finger tight now. Just got them started. I can drop the generator now. I mean the jack, get it out of the way, and then I'm going to line up the generator. I have slots in these brackets so they can move around some. So I want to make sure it's only a 1/4 of an inch from the back of the back of the frame. It needs to be as close as possible, but 1/4 of an inch gap is good. Also, the fuel line is right here. Where is it? The fuel line is right there. So we want to move the generator forward in the RV as far as possible to avoid contact with that fuel line.